on the street, in the water, or at the track. If you drive it, we can fuel it.
So in 1968, the folks at Chrysler decided that they needed to build the ultimate stock and super stock machine from their factory. They teamed up with Hurst, and what they built was a run of 50 Barracudas and Darts. A total of 50 cars were built with 426 Hemis. They were not street legal, they were not street driven, and they were only designed to go out and destroy Fords and Chevrolets on the drag strip. So here comes Gary Wolkowitz. Low qualifier has the bye run here, first time down the racetrack. Wolkowitz leaves a beautiful wheel stand, powering down the racetrack, and another run in the low 50s. This is a guy who definitely has a plan together. They got Barton horsepower and the right chassis setup. So Darren Robinson coming up now. Robinson has not had this car out at the event for more than a decade. It is the High Adventure Hemi. And as they lead the starting line, Robinson has the jump. He's out, and Hebert has problems. Stephen Hebert is not even going to finish the run, and it's going to be Darren Robinson. A huge upset here in the first round. Gus Manis coming up now. Manis, the beautiful blue Barracuda, and Mr. Fazalor is over there in the former Wolkowitz raced Earthquake car. Fazalor leaves a beautiful reaction time, but look at Gus Manis. Manis comes up, and he has made it up by the Christmas tree. The whole shot is gone, and Gus Manis goes to the finish line stripe. A little smoke coming out of the back of that car. Hopefully it's not hurt. So Steve Kent coming up next to Steve Camella. Camella's car, one of the original 50 of these examples ever built. Both men running 4-speed manual transmissions. The tree comes down and Camella jumps early. So Steve Kent will get down first. Not the best run he's made all weekend for sure, but Steve Camella took his own kind of destiny into his hands here with a red light start. Wendell Howes got away with one there, didn't he?
He did. At 141 reaction time. That would have been when you pull second gear and you were a fender behind.
11:24.4 off the throttle for Howes, whose car was rocking back and forth after it landed from a wheel stand. Moves him on, and William Kraft is going to be sick after seeing that time slip. A brand new effort for Dale Mears, and Dale Mears unfortunately jumps the tree. So it's going to be Russ Campbell and the Missouri Mule going on to the next round. A nice run for Campbell. His best run of the weekend by over a tenth. 866.7, 155.
Dale said he rented the track for 3 days to test before he come up here, and it rained all 3 days.
Brutal. And Mears is an engine builder by trade, so this is kind of a multi-level challenge for him. He wants to try to make the big power.
Yeah.
Here comes Tony DePillo, the 4-speed honkin' Hemi, 68 Barracuda in red on the Chevy side, and Marlon Bogner, the Bogner Automotive car over there on the Ray Skillman side. Man, DePillo got off the starting line second, broke traction and shut it off. Bogner goes 8.88.3, 148, his best run of the weekend by nearly a tenth.
Everybody's picked up today. The weather better or the track better or what?
I think the air is definitely drier and cooler than we have seen, and I also think these guys are probably some professional level sandbaggers during qualifying as well.
You reckon?
Dan Morgan's car in Brookville, Ohio, and as I look at you, Herb, you're looking at that thing, and you know exactly why, because it sits the way they originally sat.
Yeah, that's what they looked like in '68. They were all set up in the back with the super stock springs on them. We didn't have any ladder bars or anything like that. All we had was a set of super stock springs. That was our suspension, the 02 and 03 super stock springs.
Morgan's car is still on leaf springs. It has a set of Caltrax bars, and it is an original car. It is called the Motivator. It says it across the trunk lid. It has been raced forever and ever and a day, and it is spectacular. It is certainly a little bit like bringing a gun to a bazooka fight here, but you never know. We've seen crazier things happen as Joe Teuton rolls up in the famed Candy Cuda here on the Chevy side of the racetrack. Formerly run by Bucky Hess, now owned by Joe and run by Joe. Joe crushing it with that 011 reaction time. A little bit of smoke rolling off the back of Morgan's car as Joe Teuton goes 8.59.6 at 156, and Dan Morgan goes 10.90 with a 5 at 126. And correct me if I'm wrong, but again, not that far off from what we would have seen in 1968.
That's right. No, they were a little quicker than that, but yeah, we were on low 10s, 12 and 68, mid 10s.
Matt Welker and Bucky Hess coming up now. Bucky Hess driving the brand new Psycho Cuda, painted by his incredibly talented son Travis using Jason Line horsepower, and Matt Welker is very classily painted, the crimson, the silver paint job over there, very classic, and the old school lettering on the doors. Look at the launch for Hess. A bounding leap. Once it came down to the ground, it flew again. 123 in the 8th mile for Bucky, and he goes 8.78 with a 5 at 154.
Bucky said this is a brand new car. They just started running it.
They did just start running it. He only made one qualifying pass, had some family business to tend to, and he came back, and he is moving on to round 2 as Welker goes 9.41, 9 at 144, having problems. Jim Pancake and Rick Johnson coming up right now. Pancake's car, another of the great legacy cars that are out here from the original run of 50. And Rick Johnson from Minnesota, the 1968 Barracuda. Johnson has won the U.S. Nationals before in that car with that paint scheme. Number 17 qualifier is Johnson. Pancake was number 4 on the sheet. And Pancake is taking his time, and he better hurry up before he times out. Jim Pancake has spotted Rick Johnson a whole bunch of real estate out there, and Rick Johnson doesn't appear to be willing to give any of it back, but he's going to catch him at the stripe by 900ths. That was way closer than it needed to be, my man.
Yes, it was.
863 beats an 893, but the margin of victory less than a tenth. Whoa.
That's hard in high gear.
Steve Yantis and Kyle Core coming up. Yantis, another of the former Bucky Hess cars over there. Kyle Core driving this beautifully painted example on the Chevy side. .426 cubic inches, a cross ram intake manifold. It's more like an inline manifold these days with 2 carburetors on it. Man, the tale of 2 launches right there, as Yantis may have been second to react to the light, but he ate up Kyle Core in the first half of the race. 8.65.5 at 154.32 as Core goes 11.10 with a 6 at 88. Jim Daniels and Mark Howes, I look forward to that. As Mark Howes gets ready to stage his car from New Brunswick, Canada, and Jimmy Daniels, the 22-year-old from Yardley, Pennsylvania, a guy who shines in this contest. And Mark Howes is going to make him sing for his supper here as Howes got out of the starting line blocks first, but it's going to be Jim Daniels applying all that Ray Barton horsepower to go 8.52 with a 2. Low ET of the meet so far at 156.35 miles an hour. Mark Howes goes 8.71 with an 8, 152, and just didn't have a horse that could run hard enough.
Yeah. Jimmy's a really good driver. He's a young boy. He got a lot going for him. He's got good horsepower, good car.
Well, and you told me a little bit before, he spent a very informative summer of his life somewhere.
He stayed with Ray Barton when he was 13 years old and stayed at Ray's house and worked in the shop for Ray when he was 13 years old.
For an entire summer.
Yeah, for the whole summer.
That is one of those old school stories that you hear about guys that did it in the 60s or 70s, but this happened much more recently. The kid's only 22 years old, so we're talking in 2010. Yeah. He was hanging out for a summer, soaking up a lot of great knowledge at Ray Barton Racing Engines.
Well, that's what we're talking earlier. You get a young person involved in this when they're in their teens, 12, 13 years old in that neighborhood. Get them in a junior drag show when they're about 10 nowadays, and they'll be there for an hour home because you never get away from this. You can't quit.
Clearly you're here.
Yeah.
So Lloyd Warford unable to appear means that Jerry Casson will have a free pass into the next round. This is another one of those cars like we saw earlier with Dan Morgan's car, where it has a ladder bar style suspension. It's an old school style. At one point that was the hot ticket before going to the 4-link, right?
Yeah, we put the ladder bars on in '71. That was good. And it pretty good.
I was going to say, you must love watching that.
Yeah. And that car looks like you could drive it to the grocery store. It's a really neat car. I like that car.
And Jerry Casson goes 934.3, 142, and he's got a trip to round 2 in his pocket.
Now, this is the car I was telling you earlier they bought in California. It was a 6-cylinder automatic, and the kid was driving it back and forth to school every day. And Jerry bought it, Dan bought it, and built it into the 68 car. It was a 6-cylinder automatic car originally.
He saved it from a very mundane life, I can promise you that.
Oh, yeah.
So Dan's Rust was supposed to be facing Rich Locker. Unfortunately, Locker had an issue with the Systematic Machine-sponsored car, so that means that Dan's Rust, the Gold Coast Hemi, will be running down as a solo, the final car in this first round of the Dodge Hemi Challenge circa 2018. Rust not wasting the opportunity with an 0.12 reaction time, 119 in the 8th mile, and Dan's Rust flexing his muscles, but shutting the car off early to go 9.12.6 at 127 miles an hour. So now we have Steve Kent and Darren Robinson. Both guys kind of made it out of the first round, if not on luck, certainly by the skin of their teeth. And once again, Robinson's out first. An 0.15 reaction time. Kent is very late, spun the tires, but here comes the horsepower. Steve Kent out-muscles Darren Robinson at the stripe, and Robinson might have thought he had that one locked up, but Kent ran him down. And only by 19/100ths of a second.
Darren get him some horsepower, he'd be bad news because he's driving the fool out of that car.
He is driving that thing like a boss. An 0.15 reaction time as Kent was 247 on the tree and the thing spun the tire. Thankfully, Steve had enough oomph to catch Robinson. Well, Wendell House may need to pull a rabbit out of a hat here because Gary Wolkowitz has the second quickest car on the property, and the math says Wendell has about the 10th.
Well, got to lead first.
Yeah.
That's good for that game.
Going to try to buy some time here. Wolkowitz from White House Station, New Jersey. Wendell House, an East Coast guy, but from the East Coast of Canada up there in Rothesay, New Brunswick. Mark House, his son, eliminated round 1, looking on as his dad gets ready to tear down the Chevy Performance side of this racetrack. Wolkowitz is locked in. And you see Haas's car turn the tire as Wolkowitz's car and pull a nice wheel stand. No wheel spin, no problems for Wolkowitz. What's the elapsed time going to look like? 8:52 of the 6th. They're printing time slips down there. It is Dan's Rust and James Daniels coming up right now. Jimmy Daniels, 22 years old. The Ray Barton Racing Engine's house car went 8:52 with a 2, I believe, last time down. And Dan's Rust in a position of needing to get off the starting line first and perhaps capitalize on a Daniels mistake. Because if this thing goes cleanly, Dan's Rust has at least not yet shown us that he has the power to hang with the door handles on at Daniels' car. Dan's Rust fully staged as Daniels now finds his spot on the Chevy side. Dan's Rust tried to throw the kitchen sink at him, but he whiffed. 0.36 red light start for Rust. Daniels, we saw a 52 out of Wolkowitz, a 54-2 at 156 out of Jimmy Daniels, and again the 60-foot time at bottom 120.
Yeah, so that had a 120, the other car had a 119, and that was a 54. What did the other car have, 56?
The Wolkowitz car was a 52.6.
52, okay,
yep.
52.6, okay.
Joe Teuton and Gus Mantis lead. Teuton a monstrous wheel stand, but it's Mantis with a better reaction time. A 008. Teuton was stout with an 029, and Gus Mantis goes through the lights, a wisp of telltale smoke out of the back of the car. The speed beginning to go down. He goes 861 at 152, but I wonder at what cost. Joe Teuton 864 at 156. They were both getting after it.
Yeah, we got 4 cars there within a tenth of a second. That's pretty impressive with these cars.
Next pair here is Jerry Kaysen and Bucky Hess. Remember, Kaysen had a competition single in round 1. Bucky Hess, this is a brand new race car.
Well, they were over checking it out a while ago, and the main thing they were doing was wiping it off. Put it neat.
That is a good thing. Kaysen leaves. That is the ladder bar car with its high riding stance. Bucky Hess, the lowered stance, the Jason line horsepower will be enough to go 869.1 at 153, as Casson goes 937 at 142. And again, huge props to Jerry Casson for coming out here and having a blast with us this weekend. Fell in love with that dart when I first saw it earlier in the week, and he may not have the ridiculous levels of horsepower that Bucky Hess has, but that car is awesome. Steve Yantis and Jim Pancake. Yantis over there from Charleston, South Carolina, the 68 Barracuda, and it is Pancake in the Dart Chevrolet side.
I got a good story about Pancake.
Oh, I think we're going to have one, as Jim Pancake leaves the starting line with an 048 reaction time, leading the 84 light of Yantis, and he is going to drag him down the track on a leash. 867.4 at 151, as Yantis goes 888.4 at 152, and tell your Pancake story.
Jim said he was 19 in 68. He went up to buy a Corvette, and the guy at the Chevrolet place made him mad, so he got mad and left. He went over to the Dodge store. Said he went to the Dodge store, he told the guy he wanted something that was really fast. And the salesman said, we just got this letter here where they're building a 68 Dart with a Hemi in it. He said, okay, I want it. How much is it? So they worked out a price, they got it all negotiated. And Jim asked him, said, well, what kind of gas mileage does it get? The guy looked at him and laughed.
Bogner and Russ Campbell, the Missouri Mule, and Bogner's car sliding around early in the run. You saw it kind of try to go side to side. It was a bit cattywampus there for a second. Does it give enough opportunity to Campbell? It does. 872 with a 5 at 154.90 for Russ Campbell. The Missouri Mule is heading to the semifinal round of the Dodge Hemi Challenge, and Marlon Bogner 896.1 after spinning the tires down low.
So Jim asked him what kind of gas mileage it got, and the guy said, son, this is a race car. What do you mean what kind of gas mileage it's got? It's a Hemi with 2 4 barrels on a cross ram. He said, well, sir, if I can't drive it to work every day, I can't afford to pay for it. He said, so he didn't get to buy it. So,
wow.
He's out here now with his car. His car is always good. Jim's a great guy. He does a lot. He's been very involved in this since the go.
Coming out to the starting line in his Dart, trying to change their own world and make a move to the final round of the Dodge Hemi Challenge. Bucky Hess, this car making its public debut at this race in front of the big grandstands here at the U.S. National. He has taken a fairly measured approach in getting this thing sorted out. That has to stop now because Gary Wolfowitz is going to come up there and try to roll 50 up on him.
Well, this is only about the 5th run on this car, so I'd like to step it up a little bit.
Both cars, pre-stage, Wolfowitz all the way to the pole stage position. Bucky Hess. the car. They're trying to get her to do a burnout, and they just signaled to shut the car off. The crew guy dove under that thing and took a look, and immediately popped his head up and said, cut it off. The Missouri Mule of Russ Campbell will be heading on to the next round.
That's the sickest feeling you can have, is to be right there and somebody tells you to shut it off. You just feel like somebody let the air out of it.
Well, especially, wait a second, what? Now we get the Missouri Mule rolling backwards. Trying to get a clarification from race control on exactly what may or may not be happening right now. They haven't actually pushed Pancake off of the racetrack yet. And they haven't pushed Russ Campbell off the racetrack yet either. Pancake just rolled the thing ahead. It looks like maybe Russ Campbell doing the force the leg thing and waiting him out. So Russ Campbell is heading towards the starting line. We are going to have a car go down the racetrack here after a bit of an interesting situation up there. Jim Pancake will not be heading down the racetrack. His crew guys are, as you can imagine, dejected on that fact. And the Missouri Mule will have a competition signal here. Jim Pancake start rolls backwards to the water box. Cable's in his gun.
Yeah, we got some thank yous to share. Rick Lakin, nobody knows who that is, but if you say Frito, they know who he is.
Comes out there work every year in and out to get this program.
Donald DeWatt to help put this show together and get all these guys here. Of course, they
SRT, Chrysler, and Fiat is actually down there in the starting line. Steve Beam, who is a drag racer. Steve won an NHRA national event back in 1984. He is down there between the V, if you will, watching from the starting line as Jimmy Daniels is going to try to go down and basically keep pace with Wolfowitz. That's kind of what we're watching here, back and forth. These two cars that keep sharing those 852 elapsed times.
Well, he's got to be. He won it last year, so we'll see how he does here.
Daniels works the brake pedal, inches the car in. At 155.76 miles per hour.
Now this is going to get good here because we got 4 really good cars here.
Yeah, so we have Russ Campbell and Jimmy Daniels to start us out with, and Gary Wolkowitz and Gus Mantis to follow that act up with. And appropriately, we have 2 Darts and 2 Barracudas left.
Well, that's the way it ought to be.
Absolutely. You made the mention of some days it's better to be lucky than good, and Russ Campbell, the last round against Steve Kent, by rights on paper, his goose was cooked, but here he is. Yeah, Daniels, we can say with confidence, has been the best and most consistent lever in this category this weekend by a long shot. So Russ Campbell is fully staged. He is geared up, getting ready to step off the clutch. Jim Daniels, an automatic transmission in there. And how about you? How about you, Russ Campbell, getting out on the kid? But it looks like the Ray Barton horsepower is going to shovel him out of the hole as they get down to the top end. 851 with a 1 at 156. And Russ Campbell makes his best run of the weekend. No shame in that game. It is low ET of the meet. So it's Gary Wolkowitz and Gus Mantis coming up right now. Wolkowitz in the kind of, candy apple red with a darker red flame job Dart, and Gus Mantis in that beautiful blue Barracuda. 51, the number to shoot for. Wolkowitz has really been the only guy through the entire event that has been close, and the quickest as he's been is 52. It could shake out that way as it's going to be Wolkowitz's second to stage. A red light start for Mantis, and the one time that Gary Wolkowitz missteps, Gus Mantis red lights his chances away. 860 with an 8 at 152 for Gus Mantis, and Gary Wolkowitz with a win light goes 1165 at 82. Wow.
Like you said, you'd rather be lucky than fast. Whoever moves first is going to be the hero here.
Pretty interesting, I think, on sheer numbers. You looked at the staging lanes this morning and you figured the Barracudas had them surrounded, right?
Yeah. But the Dodge Hemi Shootout.
Jimmy Daniels had a lot of success in this race. Only 22 years old, but he certainly has been driving like a veteran.
Oh, yeah, he's done a great job the last 2 years. The run before last, he had a 005 light. The last run, he had a 195 light. So he's got to come up with a 00 again, or Jerry does one.
Gary Wolkowitz on the left side, Jimmy Daniels on the right side. How nerve-wracking is it that it's now dusk? As it gets darker, you see the tree better. You're going to react to the light better, and I think the chances of lighting that bottom bulb are probably going up a little bit.
Oh, I hope not. I hate to see that.
Gary Wolkowitz kind of got away with one in the last round when his opponent went red, and his car did not make a clean run. It's the final of the Dodge Hemi Challenge at the 64th Annual U.S. Nationals. Pick your favorite dart. Both drivers green. Both drivers turn the tire just a little bit. Jimmy Daniels got an advantage on the starting line, and Gary Wolkowitz has given up the chase. Jimmy Daniels wins it again, 866 at 156 miles an hour. Herbie moved first, but both drivers turned the tire a little bit to 60 feet. Daniels got his to recover. Gary Wolkowitz drove it down a little before the 8th mile and went, all right, that's enough.
Unprecedented 3 times in a row winning this Hemi Challenge. What's that like?
It's like winning it for the first time. The feeling's amazing. It's unbelievable. There's just so many people that go into making this thing so successful. My father, my mother, girlfriend, her parents, my grandfather's here, my teammate Gary Wolkowitz, who I ran in the final, Ray and David Barton, the list goes on. I mean, it's just an unbelievable feeling.
What was your biggest challenge today?
Running my teammate, that was the hardest round that I had to do there, and because we got same power, comes out of the same shop instead of the car, so it was going to be good.
Well, it's good shot.
Thank you.
Best memory of all 3 wins?
Being able to have all our friends and family here. I mean, the crowd that's on the starting line that's from our crew is insane. We got so many people that support us, and that's it.